Hello and welcome to episode 168 of the Childless Not by Choice podcast, everyone. My name is Civilla Morgan. My mission is to recognize and speak to the childless not by choice women and men around the world, reminding us that we can live joyful, relevant, fulfilled, childless not by choice lives. And whether you have children or not, thank you for tuning in. Well, this is the December 2024 episode, the final episode of the year. Thank you again for stopping by for just a few minutes, and thank you for listening throughout the year. I know it's been an interesting year for me, and I know some of it has come through the episodes, so I appreciate you tuning in, listening, learning. Thank you for feedback. I always appreciate feedback, and while we're here, speaking of feedback, I would appreciate any ratings and reviews that you can stop by Apple Podcast and provide for me for the podcast. It helps the podcast to be found. If you can post a review, say something about the podcast, about a particular episode, any way that the podcast or any episode has helped you, would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. And I believe you can also do that on Spotify. So if you're listening on Spotify, feel free to reach out to me via Spotify and to just leave me a rating over there as well. I also, of course, accept messages via Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger. On the Instagram, I know if you do a search for me, you'll find 3 Instagram accounts, but the one that pertains to the Childless Not by Choice podcast is the @JoyAndRelevance Instagram account. So reach out to me there. If you have any questions or comments or anything, just give me a day or two to respond, and I will be happy to do so. So thanks again for all that you've done, you've contributed, those who have made financial contributions throughout the year, whether on a monthly basis or every once in a while, it is all appreciated. Thank you so much for doing a little bit of life with me during 2024. I hope that the content has been helpful. Speaking of content, the last episode was September, and so many of you know I take a 2-month hiatus where I don't produce or provide any new episodes for October and November. And that's just me taking a little bit of a break, although I am working in the background. I've actually already recorded a January episode. In January, there are going to be 2 episodes. One is my interview with one Ms. Bindi Shah, and then she was gracious enough to record a second episode for us, which will, as I said, will also be aired in January. And so I want you to be able to tune in to both episodes, because I won't say too much about the second one. I just want you to listen, because I thought it was such a wonderful idea what I asked her to do for the second interview or the second episode. So it's all her on that second episode. Please tune in. I think it's going to be a fabulous way to start the new year. So it's a fabulous way to start any new year. So please do tune into the January episodes. I think you will find very great information in the conversation that she and I had, but also in the episode that she has been gracious enough to do for us for the second episode of January. So tune in. Please do. February, I'm still working on that content. I pretty much have an outline for everything I want to do all year. As many of you have heard me say, 2025 is going to be my 10-year podcast anniversary. So 10 years of podcasting about the childless not by choice demographic, about us, for us, and anyone who will listen. So I'm looking forward to celebrating 10 years. I do have an outline for what I want the year to look like. Of course, I can make changes. I have been known to make changes to the lineup, but it's always good to have some idea of what you want things to look like. It's called making a plan, I guess, knowing that plans can change. And that's a good thing for us to keep in mind in our lives in general, right? We don't want to be so hard and fast with our list that we miss out or mess up because we're upset that our list just didn't work out the way we wanted it to. And so, yes, make a list, make plans. It's good to have plans, but make room for what I call a little wiggle room. Or just occurred to me, my pastor did a sermon many years ago where he talked about having some margin. And that episode has stuck with me because of how important it is to have margin in our lives and in our plans. Because if we're so close to the edge, we tend to be running late, not getting much done, but running around in circles, upset when things don't work out as planned, really upset when people upset us, and when we know good and well that we're all fallible. Human beings are fallible. No matter how much we love them or they love us, we are all fallible, and we can all mess up and make a mistake and forget an appointment or, all the things that can happen. But when we have margin, when we create margin, we don't allow things to upset us so much. Yes, it's upsetting if somebody forgets we had a lunch date. Of course, you planned, you took the time out, you got there, and then you're just there and the person forgot. Yeah, it can be a little discombobulating and upsetting, but if you have margin, you can move on to the next thing. You have plan B going on. Not that, a plan B is always a fabulous idea, but you're always having something to do and not relying. I think that's the point I want to make. Not relying on people so much. And even the people that we love, not relying on them to completely ruin our day, whether they meant to or not, because they forgot. Does that make sense? So I think one of the things that we can think about as we head into a new year is how we want to do life as usual, how we want to show up in our own lives and for others, and whether we want to be what I call on the run all the time, or if we want to have some space to relax. That space is what I call the margin. And so it's just something to think about. But as we continue on here, I know that there were certain episodes that may have been found quite interesting for some people. There might be content that may be news to you. I think I'm thinking in particular about the episode I did on race and the medical community. I know that was an interesting episode to do. So I'm sure for some of you it was interesting to hear. We also had our fabulous interview, episode 166, my conversation with one Miss Jody Day. I hope you had a chance to listen to that episode. And episode 167, I think that was the September episode. Oh yeah, that was the one where we talked about what we're being called as childless, not by choice people, crazy cat ladies, I think is the latest. Yeah, that was a good episode. For me, I'm a childless plant lady because I don't have any pets. But at any rate, I think I want us to head into the new year as positive as we possibly can. I know that, especially for those of us here in the U.S., there's a little bit of trepidation for half the country and not so much for the other half. But no matter where you landed, who you voted for, I just ask that we lead with kindness. Just be the good we want to see in the world. I don't remember who said that. I know somebody said it, so sorry for not knowing who said it, not meaning not to attribute it to someone, but I know somebody said it. It wasn't me. Be the good we want to see in the world. And as I said before, show up as authentically and positively as you can, as we can, and, do the best we can with where we are. So just scrolling through my website, childlessnotbychoice.net, clicking on the podcast tab. By the way, that's how you can also listen to episodes if you don't have any other way of listening. Just go to the website, childlessnotbychoice.net, click on the podcast tab, and the most recent episode will show up at the top, and then you can just keep scrolling and you'll see all of the episodes that are there and available for your listening pleasure. I also want to say this. We are heading into, especially if we're here in the U.S., heading into a year where we don't really know what's to come. And we're heading into holidays where we may be interacting with people who did not vote the way we did, and vice versa. And so as childless not by choice people, we are already heading into a time of the year where it can be painful, especially if you're just newly childless not by choice person. Maybe you're a very young person, 20s, 30s, and maybe even 40s, and you're still dealing with the fact that you will not have any children, and you're heading into a time of year where you're going to be interacting with family members of every age. And then now on top of that, we have to deal with the most recent elections. It's a lot. It is a lot. And so, as I usually say to you, create kind but firm boundaries, and maybe don't discuss politics no matter how much you may want to. You may follow politics closely like I do, and you know that if it starts, there's not going to be any end, and it may not even end well. In previous years, it may have ended a little ugly, a little messed up, whatever, but this year, it could be worse. So I know we're all adults. I definitely cannot and will not tell you what to do ever. But in this case, I've got to say that it's probably best to just say nothing when it comes to politics. It's always best. But, we can end up getting our feelings hurt if we deign to go there. So, the people that we love and who love us, or maybe we thought they loved us, and however we end up, because of the conversation, I would say just don't even go there. Just show up. I know that they're having a lot of stories of people who are not attending the family gatherings this year. And some people have uninvited family members. And it's just really, really heartbreaking and sad, the stories that I'm hearing. And I know how heartbreaking it is to watch certain things that are about to happen and some family members not believe it's going to happen. But, the fact is, we've got to make a decision as human beings to either love our family members, those people with the same blood running through their veins that's running through ours, and just bite our tongue, have the family meal, and when you get back to your life, if you want to make a change in the way things are being done in your community, you have that option. But arguing and losing family members and all the things that are happening, it may not be worth it, because no matter which side you voted for, those politicians, they don't know you like your family knows you. They don't love you like your family loves you, and vice versa. So it's choices. It comes down to choices as to whether or not we go. Some people will not go this year. And there may be nothing wrong with that. It may be a wise decision not to go. But making long-term decisions, maybe not a good idea. Maybe just don't go this year. Relax, rest, get some rest mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and then maybe go next year. But if you go to the family gatherings this year, remember that you are a whole human being, that you are valued, that you are worthy. I love that word, worthy. You are worthy. We are worthy. It's important as worthy human beings that we create and maintain kind but firm boundaries. I say that every year. Kind but firm boundaries. So whether it's just the usual foolishness that you deal with as a childless not by choice woman every time you get together with family, or it's the added foolishness or craziness, maybe foolishness is not the right word, but the added craziness or whatever word you want to use of the recent elections, whatever it is, things are piling up on top of each other. Just choose your battles, choose wisely whether or not to go this year. You don't have to make an explanation ever. Remember, we're adults. Even though we didn't get to have the children, we're still adults. So no explanation required. Just do what's best for you. And as I always say also, if you go to any event, whether it's a family gathering or a Christmas party or anything, have a plan B, have an exit plan, and discuss what you want to discuss when it comes to your childlessness. You don't have to go into any great detail or diatribe or trying to get people to understand that. You don't have to explain your existence, I guess, is what I'm saying. None of us should have to explain our existence. And that's where that word worthy comes in. I think that's going to be my word of the year for 2025, because I really do love that word. And so just keep that in mind. It's a different gathering this year because of the elections, but know that you are worthy and know that you don't have to say anything. Know you have choices. You can choose to say nothing. You can choose to bite your tongue. You can choose to go or not to go. You can choose. And even if you are single and childless, like me, you are a family unit. That's something I always like to remind us of. We are a family of ourselves. And so there are families where there is a mom, dad, and children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, nieces, nephews. There's whole families, yes. But those of us who are single and childless, we are a family unit as well. You want proof of that? When you file your taxes. Do you not file taxes because it's just you? No, you still have to file taxes. And we still have to manage a household, even when it's just, and I don't like to use that word, but just you or just me. I'm still maintaining a household. So I am a family unit. It just happens that my family unit is made up of me. And yes, of course, I have my siblings, they have their families, I have cousins and aunts and uncles. So I'm not saying that I'm a hermit. I'm saying that when it comes to a family unit within a family, I am a family. So if that's the case for you as well, you are a family. Act accordingly, plan accordingly, and do accordingly. And hold your head up high, hold your chin up high. And if it's time to go, it's time to go. That's it. I hope that those have been words of encouragement for such a time as this. I know that every family has their own situations. I can't possibly know every single family situation. And that's why I get to speak generally to all of us as childless, not by choice people. Only you know your family dynamics, but I know that regardless of the family dynamics, we are a family unto ourselves. We are worthy. And we are deserving of being on this planet because we're here. And so walk strong and walk into 2025 with your head held high. That's the best I can say because that's exactly what I am going to be doing. So I think that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to stop by to say for our December episode. I didn't want to be too long about it. They always say in podcasting, when you're done with the episode. Don't keep trying to stretch it out and add more to make it longer. Some episodes are going to be 30 minutes, some are going to be 40, some are going to be 60, and some are going to be 20. And that's just how it is because when you're done, you're done. So I wish you all the best for all the holidays that you celebrate. Thank you for sticking with me for these past going on 10 years. Thank you for listening, for being in the Childless Not by Choice with Civilla Morgan Facebook group. I especially also want to thank the ladies who are helping in the group, the wonderful ladies who, when I'm not around, they are definitely always around, even though they have so much going on in their lives as well. Thank you very much for all you do. You guys have helped me through some really difficult and tough couple of last years when I just couldn't show up because of the loss of my mom 5 years ago or the loss of my dad just over a year ago. I just love you all. Thank you so much for all you do in the group and just interacting with and speaking to and responding to the posts in the group. I couldn't do this without you. So thank you very much, ladies, for all that you do. Thank you to all the listeners, to all of you for tuning in. Until next time, which will be January, have a good one.